Welcome back, CCL Sports Cards fan, and welcome to part 3 of my 4-part mini-series. I do hope you all had a nice Easter or Passover, whichever happens to apply to you. Now, as we get into my second favorite prospect here, the cost of the cards really rises, and with good reason, as these fellas are very likely to be the stars of Major League Baseball someday soon. And with that, let's talk about Robert Hassell. He is an absolute stud, and how can he not be with a name like Bobby Barrels? Currently ranked the number 2 prospect for the San Diego Padres and up a spot from number 3 in 2021, his cards have gotten cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, which I find both exciting and peculiar all at the same time, since his prospect status rose. While part of that could be indicative of the card market continuing to cool off, I could care less and enjoy paying less and less for cards of players who I think are the real deal Holyfield. In the past 2 months, I've purchased 2 purple PSA 10s, one for $1,200 and one for $1,100, and a purple PSA 10 just sold at auction for $760 on March 30th, and his base auto in PSA 10 just sold April 4th for $440, and they were routinely selling for $650 in PSA 10 all winter. So I am liking Hassell more and more as he gets cheaper and cheaper. I will note that with how well he has performed these past 2 weeks, it's a little concerning that prices are still falling. But generally speaking, as prices fall, you want to be buying, be it stocks or real estate, or as it relates to the show, sports cards. Now, a few investors and collectors were probably scared off over the course of the winter because after annihilating pitching in low A for Lake Elsinore to the tune of 323, sporting 57 walks and 78 strikeouts with a whopping 31 doubles and 7 home runs, he was promoted to high A Fort Wayne late last August, where he went just 1 for 9 with 2 strikeouts. But as the calendar moved to September, he responded with 3 home runs on September the 1st, and then hit in 12 of the next 14 games. He did cool a little as September wound down, but a modest slump in the final 6 games wasn't anything to be concerned about, at least in my opinion, after such a long year, which he would not be used to at all coming out of high school. Not to mention the fact that his 22 campaign at High A Fort Wayne is off to a ferocious start. He's hitting .400 this season with 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, and 7 steals in just 35 at-bats. So yeah, as predicted, his season is shaping up to be a little more like the Hassell we saw last September, and nothing like the Hassell we saw in the late 5-6 games at High A where he was probably just tired. Hassell is just 20, and he's a lefty with a sweet swing. And if you haven't seen some of the videos of this kid driving the ball in game to the gap the other way, like his first home run this season, you are missing out. Fellas who can hit like this at his age are rare. Driving the ball the other way on demand, it really forces pitchers to pitch you in a way they prefer not to, providing even more opportunities and making good hitters look great. He has 60 for hitting on his scouting report, which is great, and I concur with. A plus hitter for sure. He has great wheels, compiling 34 steals in the 2 levels in 2021 and only being caught 6 times. And again, already has 7 steals in 2022 in just 9 games. He has a great arm and all 55s in terms of the scouts' ratings defensively. Take those 2 together, and it's not hard to imagine Hassell manning center field for the Padres in the future and making a big impact in that. All told, I've got about $14,000 invested in Hassell's cards, with a gold PSA 10, a black PSA 10, and the aforementioned 2 purple PSA 10s, all of which are autos and have been featured on this channel at one time or another. The sky is the limit for Bobby, and I continue to be a buyer. I don't imagine he debuts until late next season, and MLB.com has him debuting even later than that. But just for a second, imagine this guy hitting second in front of Tatis Jr. and Machado on the Padres. Woo-wee! That is an awesome 2-3-4 in my opinion. And to reiterate, his cards are still somewhat of a bargain. And while they have begun to show signs of life the last week with his performance, they are in fact still cheap, at least in my opinion. And I say back up the truck on Hassell's cards. This kid is headed for superstardom. Now, stay tuned for my next and final episode in the mini-series where I talk about my number 1 prospect in terms of invested dollars for 2022, and that is Nick Gonzalez of the Pittsburgh Pirates. You guys have a great couple of days. Built an empire.